Steve Ratner and Julie Pace are still with us, and joining us now on set, Editor-in-Chief of BuzzFeed, Ben Smith. How are you?
Good, thanks for having me.
My daughter loves your website.
That's great to hear.
She keeps saying I read it on BuzzFeed. Yeah, she's 17.
Don't say it with such disdain.
No, I find it so interesting.
Do you feel differently?
No. I didn't know you. Yeah, no, it's good, right?
It's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just you skew young. It's hard to capture the young in any news capacity. Let's get straight to the news. Tomorrow, the Senate will vote on the bipartisan budget plan, which easily passed through the House last week. With that deal behind them, Congressman Ryan and Senator Murray are already looking to what they hope will be the next area of compromise, tax reform. But when it comes to another pressing fiscal issue, the debt ceiling, finding common ground may not be that easy.
Are you going to demand more in return for raising the debt?
We as a caucus, along with our Senate counterparts, are going to meet and discuss what it is we want to get out of the debt limit. We don't want nothing out of this debt limit. We're going to decide what it is we can accomplish out of this debt limit fight. One of the problems or concerns I have with the debt limit is we don't know when it's going to hit. Jack Lew, the Treasury Secretary, has ultimate discretion on when this could occur. So the timing of this is very much in doubt.
The debt limit has been suspended until February 7th of next year. At that point, the Treasury will have to begin using so-called extraordinary measures to avoid default. Have we heard this all before?
Yes, we have.
I feel like I'm reading a script that I've read 4 times in the past. Meanwhile, Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker says he supports Congressman Ryan's attempts at fiscal reform, but real change will only begin when Republicans start winning more elections.
I think it shows the incredible leadership and respect that Paul Ryan brings to the table. He's one of those guys that kind of steps out of the role of a member of Congress and really stepped up to provide some leadership. But I think for those of us who believe the federal government's too big, too intrusive, too involved in our lives, what it tells us is if we want a budget deal we can wrap our arms around, we're going to have to win in the 2014 elections, particularly in key Senate races. Paul is one of those rare people in Washington who's acting more like a governor than just a member of Congress.
All right, we've got some poll numbers we're going to show you in just a moment. First, Ben and Julie, what are the possible scenarios here?
I mean, for the House, for the Senate vote, I mean, it looks like the appropriators are very eager to get their power to appropriate back, and that's probably a really key factor in making it likely the Senate's going to approve it.
They get their power. Go ahead, Julie.
No, I agree. I think that you're going to have some Republicans, people like Senator Corker, who maybe we had expected would vote for this budget deal, who may not. I think it will pass in the end with a slim margin. But I am really struck by what Paul Ryan said on the debt ceiling, because you just see these two camps lining up exactly where they were earlier this year, back in 2011, with the Republicans saying they need something out of this and the White House saying no, essentially.
It's remarkable, too, Steve mentioned this in the last hour, for all the celebration about this budget deal and that for 2 years we won't have a shutdown. It didn't do anything about the debt limit, so we could have that fight, as Paul Ryan said, coming up in about a month and a half. So let's not celebrate too much on that little budget deal. Here with us now from Washington, Democratic representative from the state of Maryland, Congressman Elijah Cummings. Congressman, good to see you this morning.
It's good to be with you.
Were you happy with the budget deal? What more would you have liked to have seen?
I wasn't particularly happy. I would love to have seen us address the issue of unemployment insurance. We've got 1.3 million people that are going to lose their benefits at the end of the month on the 28th. Then we got another 2 million that are going to lose them or not get them at the beginning of the year. And I think all of this, I mean, I've been listening to you all morning, and I think there's something that you're not addressing. And it really goes back to what the Pope said in one of the greatest speeches that I've heard the president make, and that is this whole idea of income inequality. There are a lot of people who are falling off the cliff and drowning. The middle class is getting smaller and smaller. The rich are getting richer. And as the president said, people can't pay for college for their kids, make ends meet. They can't do a lot of things, and they're totally frustrated. So hopefully, in all of this discussion, we will not do what the military has made clear that we should never do. We should never leave anybody behind. And I think that's exactly what's happening right now.
Steve Ratner.
Congressman, certainly none of us could disagree with that analysis, and you point out that even unemployment insurance could not get done. So in the real world, the world in which we are unfortunately forced to live, with a Republican Congress with all this enormous pressure from the right to cut deficits, to cut spending, to not do more, how realistic is it? What do you actually think could be accomplished over the next, say, 6 months to advance the Pope's agenda and your agenda?
Steve, first of all, I think what the president has to do is he has to take those words that he made in the inequality speech and bring them into reality. And what I mean by that, we had a president who is a friend of mine, who I support 1,000,000%, who a few years ago, back in 2007, 2008, a lot of people said he could not win. And yet and still he ran a campaign and did something that most people, I think when we look back at history, will say it should have been almost impossible. And I think he has to run a campaign. He has to run a campaign for people who are being left out. And there are a lot of people being left out. See, we cannot sustain our society when we've got people who are so totally frustrated. They can't get a job, can't take care of their kids, and they don't, and people who are losing hope every day. And so, and not only that, you know, everybody's applauding this deal, and I applaud Patty and Mary and certainly Ryan. That's all well and good. But you know what? Let me show you how bad it's gotten. People want us to applaud what we're supposed to do. Compromise. I mean, that's become the standard. Oh, this is so wonderful. We've now compromised. Well, that's what you're supposed to do. And so now, hopefully, this will avoid this legislating by crisis. Hopefully, the president will join in with others who are anxious to get this done. And there are a lot of people that are anxious to take care of those people who are falling by the wayside. And by the way, a lot of the people who Paul Ryan talks about, the Tea Party supporters, are the very people who would benefit from the types of things that the president was talking about the other day. Again, I think and Ryan said we've got to move to common ground. No. We got to move to higher ground.
Representative Cummings,
go ahead.
Representative Cummings, one of the specific proposals that the president has called for is an increase in the minimum wage. $9, $10 has been talked about. Do you see any appetite in Congress to get that done over the next year?
I think it's going to be difficult, but I think the president, again, he has to wage a campaign. I mean, let me tell you, the American people's got cousins, friends, mothers, and people that they work with every day, the people who change their beds when they go into the hotel, people who wait on them in restaurants. Some people are working 3 jobs just to make ends, and not to make ends meet because the ends don't meet. I think basically what has to happen is that if we got to do it on the federal level, but if we don't, what's going to happen is that on the federal level we have to at least try. And that does have an impact, by the way. In Maryland, we've got 2 counties already out of our 24, who have already raised the minimum wage above $9. We've got other ones that are doing it too. And you're seeing this all around the country. Why? Because people realize that when people are not making money and they can't feed their they can't take care of them, somebody's going to pay. And people, again, are left feeling hopeless and desperate. And I want to be the voice for those people. And I'm hoping I'll join the president on any day at any time to try to help them. And I was so glad, by the way, in his speech, and by the way, I say it again, it's one of the greatest speeches that he has made, the one on inequality. In that speech, I was glad that he cleared up that poverty and all of these issues are not just some black problems. There's a large segment of people of all colors in our country who are suffering. And I thought that was a very good thing, because so often what happens is people paint these issues black, and then it's as if there's something, something wrong, and they don't get the kind of attention that they deserve. But I'm glad he did that.
Congressman Elijah Cummings, thank you very much. Always good to see you.
Good to see you.
Good luck there in Washington. We'll be there later this week. Congressman Paul Ryan's strength on fiscal matters may be reaching outside of Capitol Hill, according to the Des Moines Register. 73% of Republicans have a favorable view of Ryan. That's the highest among all of the potential 2016 hopefuls. He's followed by Mike Huckabee, Rick Santorum, and Texas Governor Rick Perry.
Early polling.
New Jersey Governor Chris